students. This is the fourth and final set of notes in the astronomy unit, ES 3.4, the history of space exploration. This video and other resources are available on my website at btrachy.home.blog. In this set of notes, you'll be writing down all of the text that is highlighted in orange. What you see on the screen now is the title, and you may type or handwrite the notes, but either way it needs to go into your digital notebook. So if you're handwriting it, be ready to snap a photo. Anytime that you feel like I'm moving too fast, feel free to pause the video so you can catch up. There is also a slide at the end with all of the text that is supposed to be written down together in one place. These notes are a little bit different because it's more like a timeline. So it's like a date and then what happened, or a year and then what happened. All right, let's go. 1942, the German V2 rocket reaches outer space. So this is kind of the beginning of space exploration, and Germany was involved during the arms races of World War II. Post-World War II, it becomes really just about the space race between America and the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union is what they called Russia back then. Also the USSR. In 1947, the first animals were launched into space. They weren't sure if a living thing could survive the trip, so they sent insects into outer space and they came back alive. So they figured the next step must be to send a monkey up there. 1949, Albert II was the first monkey in space. Don't ask what happened to Albert I. 1957, the Soviets, which is Russia, launched Sputnik, which was the first satellite, the first man-made object to orbit the Earth. And this was actually really scary for people living in America because they considered Russia to be their mortal enemies, and they were afraid that Russia would drop a nuclear bomb on us from outer space. But nothing like that happened. Same year, 1957, the Russian space dog Laika became the first animal to orbit the Earth. 1961, Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first man in space. His spacecraft was called Vostok 1. So as you can see, Russia's kind of ahead of the United States at this point. 1963, Russian cosmonaut Valentina Tereshkova became the first woman in space. Her spacecraft, Vostok 6, orbited the Earth 48 times. In 1968, the American Apollo 8 mission successfully orbited the Moon. And in 1969 was the first American moon landing. And because of the moon landing, America was considered to have won the space race. There were 6 Apollo missions in total. In the 1970s, a focus moved away from sending people places, and we started sending robots. So the Mariner probes visited Mercury, Venus, and Mars. In 1973, an early space station was launched called Skylab. In 1977 was the beginning of the SETI program. The SETI program is short for the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. You got these satellite dishes pointed up at the sky, monitoring all sorts of signals from outer space and seeing if there's anything that would be made by an alien technology that they can detect. So far, nothing. 1979, more probes, a probe called Voyager, or 2 probes called Voyager 1 and 2 were launched, and they were eventually visiting all 4 gas giants, and NASA's still collecting data from one of them. I think is still pumping out data, and the other one broke. But they're at the edges of the solar system now, so as you can see, it's moving pretty slow, and it's a very long distance to cover. So it took about 40 years for them to get to the edges of the solar system. 1981, Columbia was the first space shuttle launched. These were the first spaceships designed for repeated use, space shuttles. 1983, the first African American in space, Guion Stewart Bluford Jr., a member of the Challenger space shuttle crew. And in 1986, we have the Challenger tragedy when a space shuttle exploded on launch. I remember that. I was 7 years old. They had us all watching it in class. Pretty crazy stuff. Hubble Space Telescope, 1990, launched into low Earth orbit. All the pictures we've been looking at in class of nebulas are pretty much because of this guy. The Hubble Space Telescope is a super powerful telescope that is orbiting the Earth like a satellite, and it's helped gather evidence that the universe is expanding. So redshift, galaxies shifting towards the red part of the visible spectrum. You can thank the Hubble Space Telescope for that as well. 1992, the first African American woman in space, Mae Carol Jemison, a member of the Endeavour space shuttle crew. And starting in 1997 and going all the way to 2018, there were several Mars rovers rolling around, taking pictures of the surface of Mars. The names were Sojourner, Spirit, Opportunity, and Curiosity. And they were getting more advanced as time went on. In the year 2000, the first permanent crew were moved on to the International Space Station, which is still going today. In 2003, China entered the space race with Yang Lui, who was China's first astronaut. And in 2006, a space probe named Horizon was launched. This one was moving considerably faster than the Voyager probes. It made it to Pluto in 2015, so it took about 9 years to reach Pluto. And it snapped some interesting photos. We got a pretty good look at the dwarf planet Pluto. And all this stuff is still ongoing. NASA's still collecting data from the Voyager probes. Like I said, I think one of them might have broke. But projects like SETI and the International Space Station are ongoing. So here's all the dates and events that I wanted you to write down. If you missed anything, go ahead and pause it here and catch yourself up.